31-29. Everything was close. Also, the completion percentage, one of the highest completion percentage games in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah, for the two
Not
guys
that
combined.
many incompletions.
Correct.
Who needs the number one seed more?
Well, Brew, I think you'd agree the winner of this game for the conference is in the driver's seat. There's no question about it. They're in charge. They're running everything. It all goes through them. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And
That's not bad.
Unequivocally, the Lions need it more.
Oh, why?
Because there will be, the Vikings have been operating all year like, look at us. Not happy to be here. That's insulting. But they
in that neighborhood,
in the general vicinity. The Lions have literally been the one seed since that matchup. Since that Week 7 matchup, they have been the one seed.
Not Steph Curry. You're not Kevin
Every single week of football, the Lions have been the one seed. They have been operating like this is what's going to happen.
This is our year.
And so there is almost a disappointment. For even up to 2 weeks ago, the Vikings were, because you can bet on this type of thing, like 9-1 to be the one seed. Because the Eagles had a better chance, and obviously the Lions had the best chance. So there will be a legitimate vibes or energy deflation for Detroit. But the other reason is this. I think right now, Minnesota is the more complete team, so Detroit needs the cleaner path and the time off. Minnesota, if we show you their numbers for the season, they are, one of the very best teams in the league. So scoring, not great, but good. Yards, great. Opponent scoring, great.
Yeah.
Great run defense. Excellent at takeaways. Excellent stopping third downs. And the Lions, and I know you tried to put a nice coat of paint on it yesterday, comparing it to the Chiefs' offensive struggles. But the Lions, at no point this season, and certainly not at the end of the year, were the Chiefs the worst offense in football. They just weren't explosive from scoring a bunch of points, but the offense for the Chiefs has been anywhere from middling to where it is right now, which is quite good. The Lions, on the other hand, over the last month, if this was their defensive numbers the past month, would be the worst defense in football.
You're not great.
And so I think, Brew, it's a no-brainer that Detroit needs the one seed more. If Detroit doesn't get the one seed, I'll tell you right now, I'll be picking them to lose in the wild card round. Because,
wild card round.
Yeah, I think
either the Rams or the Buccaneers.
Well, a Bucs team who beat them already.
The Falcons.
Well, let me revise it. If it's the Falcons, I'll be picking the Lions.
That's right.
But the Bucs beat them, and the Rams play them to overtime, and then in the playoffs last year was a one-point game, and it would be on the road as opposed to in their building.
You make some decent points, obviously the defense, but look, the home field is not some great elixir for that defense either.
No.
And I don't think we know it's been that bad recently, but overall I don't think it's the worst defense in the league. I'm going the other way, though.
Wow.
I'm going with Minnesota for a few reasons. One, I do still, even with this defense, I thought Wiles made a good point yesterday, they're still winning games. I still think Detroit is the better team. But beyond that, Detroit, Nick, is undefeated on the road.
Yep.
Undefeated on the road, 8-0, and they beat Minnesota, Green Bay, Houston, and San Francisco, which is still a talented team, all on the road. And here's the thing. These are the last, 10 teams that have gone undefeated on the road. Last one was the Chiefs in 2020. All but the Cowboys, of course. And then one of the Niners teams, everyone else reached the Super Bowl. They didn't necessarily win it, but they all reached the Super Bowl. All right, so I get you'd rather be at home always, but the fact when you are so good on the road, this speaks to you're just a superior team. And so I think that's a big thing.
I like this graphic a lot.
My biggest thing is this, though, Nick. My biggest thing is this. The Lions have a seasoned quarterback who has already played in a Super Bowl, has played in 9 playoff games, is 2-2 on the road in playoff games, has faced the great Bill Belichick in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl for that matter. Sam Darnold is making his first playoff start. So I think he needs to be at home for that playoff start. I shouldn't say need, but it would be better for him, much better if he's at home in comfortable confines.
Okay, so I see what you're saying.
So I just think that, I think Minnesota needs it more because Darnold, he could be seeing ghosts on the road.
Oh, you're saying pumpkin mode again? I feel like
I'm not saying pumpkin. I think he's out of that at least for this
career
year.
playoff
But
start.
that's a big deal.
Question mark. It's and most guys don't have the first career playoff start. Jordan Love did. You know what I mean?
Purdy was great. Jordan Love was great.
I feel like he's so seasoned at this point. He's like, I've been through it.
Been through what? He ain't been through a playoff game.
I know, but it's a very odd circumstance to have your first playoff game be this deep in your career and have this kind of like winding
But Nick
road.
is right in that this whole year has kind of been like, wow, look at Sam Darnold. Like no expectations. Wow, this is great. Now there's expectations on them in the playoffs.
Can we go back
to
Drew's undefeated on the road graphic?
It's a good graphic.
So this is off the top of my head, but I would bet a lot of money that one reason I think this might not be as applicable here is I'm almost certain every single one of these teams, because they were undefeated on the road, had a 1 or 2 seed. Because, the Chiefs defeated.
That's a good point.
And so they had home field at least for their first playoff game. They got a bye. The Chiefs definitely did. That Chiefs team was 14-2. That Patriots team was 14-2. I don't remember the Cowboys, but I think that was the best Tony Romo team was 12-4. But the 07 Patriots obviously.
Undefeated.
So the point I'm making.
I hear
this would be the Lions potentially being the 5 seed. You know what I mean? And being
But
on the road
I do think
throughout.
it speaks to something that you could go on the road all year and be undefeated. I hear what you're saying because those teams probably had home field advantage. But
you think
if you go undefeated on the road, that means something.
One thing to buttress your point about the Lions' expectation, and I'd have